So, Dan from King 9, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
I'm
being here,
super
man.
hyped that you're here right now. It's funny, when we started this podcast, I wanted a bunch of guests on that I had in mind, but obviously I didn't know too many people. Then you were one of the people I had in mind.
Well, fucking, it took a while, but
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so the other day I was looking on your story, and you posted you guys in the garage. You were holding up mitts for someone.
Yeah, my one of my best friends, Aaron's fucking basement.
Yeah, and then on the right, they had the jiu-jitsu mats going on.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's a friend of mine's basement, and since all this shit started, people haven't really been able to train.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of just he got a heavy bag in his house. He does jiu-jitsu, and I do Muay Thai, but everybody just goes there. Everybody rolls. People hit the pads, and everybody. Honestly, it's like an excuse to hang out.
That's so sick.
But yeah, it's awesome. Like Gian, our guitar player, flew back for a few days to see his family or whatever, and he's a huge jiu-jitsu guy, huge jiu-jitsu guy, and he's like, "Oh, dude, if you guys had this, I wouldn't have moved away. I would have just stayed here. This is awesome."
Yeah.
He couldn't believe it, and we've only been doing it there for I don't know, a month and a half, but it's awesome. I love it.
How long have you been doing Muay Thai for?
I'm probably a year and a half. I wrestled before that. And,
Oh,
I've always
sick.
been in and out of doing jiu-jitsu every once in a while and stuff, and not real jiu-jitsu, just fucking around with your friends, and Gian again showing me shit. And I've always liked martial arts. I just never in my adult life had time, or at least thought I had time to start it. And I had been thinking about it. I live in Astoria, so I was thinking about it.
Oh, you live in Astoria?
Yeah.
Where do you train Muay Thai?
So at Sitan. I'm right down the block.
Yo,
from it.
that's on Steinway, right?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm planning on going there.
Hell, well, hit me up.
My
dude.
friend goes to is it Rockton?
Yeah, Rockton.
He did
in
Long
Island
the
City
he did the sign painting for them.
Okay, yeah.
And then he trains there, and I do jiu-jitsu. I'm training a lot right now because I'm planning on competing in November. So I'm just going super in right now. So my body physically, I feel like I can't, especially with Muay Thai. Start getting kicked in the legs. It's gonna be
it's brutal.
It's gonna be a problem. But I planned on after that doing it for a little bit.
Let me know.
How often do you train right now?
Right now with the schedule I'm working, it's
it's hard. Right?
Yeah, I swing by there. I try for 3 times a week. I try, but that's not even a reality. It's mostly 2 times a week, and then me and my girlfriend hit pads at home together and shit, and the regular gym isn't even open anyway. So I try for that, but with all things normal, that's what it is. 3 to 4 times a week. And then I lift weights maybe a day or 2.
That's funny you say that, because before you came, we were on those couches talking about all this right now, because I try to wake up at 3 in the morning every day to hit weights.
Dude, fuck that.
I have a labor job.
Yeah.
And then
training jiu-jitsu
I just started
every
training
day.
jiu-jitsu recently with him. So
And this.
I'm trying to balance this out, and
It's a lot.
I hate that sleep is necessary, because that shit.
Dude, I honestly right now I'm working 10-hour days. I pretty much leave my apartment at 6. I get home at 6, a little after 6, and if I stop for a second, forget it, it's over. I'm not doing anything. So I just have to be all right, where's my stuff? I just gotta go walk to the gym and just go hit it, and then I get done, and I'm just dude, I am gonna die. This is gonna kill me. But it's the best. It sucks, but it's the best.
It is.
I wouldn't
Especially
want
walking
else.
out of the gym after you just pretty much almost gave your life. It's it's the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
How did you get into Muay Thai?
Literally, I've always been a fan of boxing and any striking sport.
Yeah.
And Joey C from Righteous Jams, the singer Righteous Jams, he trains Muay Thai, and he's been training Muay Thai for probably 8 or 9 years now.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen him in a minute, and I was thinking about schools or whatever. And I remember Joey talking about Sitan years ago when he first started, because I think he was going to I don't know what gym he was going to, but he was going to another gym, and he was talking about Sitan and Queens and all this stuff, and I was like, oh man, yeah, it's cool. And then it just popped in my head, and I was like, well, I want to do something, and I look it up, and Sitan was right down the block for me.
That's so sick.
And yeah, so I just walked in, took a class, and This dude Narc trains there too,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like an old writer from, I think he started in like the 80s, but he trains there, and he's a whole hardcore dude, and he was like, oh, like we knew the same people, and like there's a lot of people that like I just coincidentally like knew that went there, like train at a different gym, and it's awesome. It's the best.
What are your thoughts in terms of like in terms of the differences of like jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and boxing? What do you see like is more attractive to you?
I mean, like stylistically, boxing is always more attractive to me, but like practically, it's not. You know what I mean? Like Muay Thai is the most practical of striking to me, at least. Yeah. But like, when I look at boxing, it's just like a more like sleek and like, you know what I mean? It just everything looks smoother and it just looks.
The head movement's beautiful.
Yeah.
You can't do that in Muay Thai.
No, you just stand there and eat everything.
You'll get kicked in the face. Yeah.
So it's like I love Muay Thai and I love the sport of it and the art of it, but like just from a strictly like viewpoint, boxing always looked more attractive.
It's like an art form.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was boxing at Gleason's a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I switched around gyms in New York a lot, but the first place I started was at Gleason's. And I remember this was before I knew anything about Muay Thai. I still know next to nothing, but just from what I observe on YouTube and stuff. I watch a lot of UFC and I watch like all the Tiger Muay Thai videos and all that. I have a lot of respect for Muay Thai. And I remember when I used to see it, I'd be like, why are they standing all square? And why aren't they moving their head? They're going to get, you know what I mean, teed up. But that's with boxing rules. But then in real life, when you start adding the chaos factor, especially the clinching is absolutely key. And in boxing, there's really no clinch.
Nah, it's just going to get broken up. The ref's just going to break it up. It's funny too, because when I first started, I immediately, like, just from watching boxing, had a boxing stance. Super, like, foot in front of the other. And they're like, no. And it took me, like, months to break out of it because I would always just stand like that. But, Another
thing is, too, those leg kicks, they almost... to someone who's never felt them, they'd look like they'd be nothing really. Dude, and they will end your life.
It's because you watch people eat them on TV and you're just like, oh yeah,
those aren't regular people.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh yeah, that doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
And then you eat a real one and you're like, okay, like this is straight up. I'd rather
take like two of those and you're done.
Yeah, dude, I'd rather get kicked in the head. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't care what happens to my head or my face, but like I get hit in the leg and I'm like, all right, I need to lay down. This is awful, dude.
I was watching this one YouTube video of it was this guy who's clearly a mixed martial artist because he clearly had boxed before and done Muay Thai, at least the very two. Yeah. Probably wrestled now that I think of it. So he's fighting in this parking lot and he's fighting this one dude and he leg kicks him. And it's like him alone.
Is
and
it
there's
the parking garage?
Yes.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've seen that. Everybody's seen that video.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And they're like, yo, like, why are you kicking? Why are you kicking? And he's like, it's a fight. And then the OG steps in. And he's like, you want to kick? You want to kick? And he's like, yeah. He kicks him and he just gets folded. And he runs at him, gets double legged, and his head slams on the floor.
Yeah, dude, that video is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I love watching those. Or if you used to watch on MTV, the bully beatdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch someone who doesn't know what they're doing versus someone who knows.
How fucked up is that show? That's
that
insane.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's an asshole, so we're gonna have a professional fighter literally beat the fuck out of him. Like, yo, that is crazy. Also, the dudes who would participate in that are complete fucking morons. But
they have no idea. And the thing is too, they made it the rule set. It was very unfair. The first round was strictly grappling. And if you've never trained in grappling, you really have no shot.
Yeah, no, not a chance.
And then the second round, when they're exhausted from that 5-minute grappling match, was striking, so they're gonna get teed up.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Dude, I completely forgot about that show. Who was the host?
It was Mayhem.
Yeah, and he went like nuts after that.
He was crazy.
Yeah.
He got in the cage one of the times in that show.
I like kind of vaguely remember that.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, because he was just like the
host. He annihilated the dude he fought.
What the fuck, man? What an insane show.
Yeah. I forgot that existed.
MTV was awesome.
But yo, speaking of like art forms, I was thinking about how like you're saying like Muay Thai doesn't really have like a certain art form, but yo, me and him, we have this dream of like fucking moving to Thailand. I mean, like the dream changes every like week.
Yeah.
But like we want to move to Thailand and open our own gym because we've seen pictures of like people training outside. It's like
this one dude Willie. I don't know if you follow him, but he's a Muay Thai fighter from Australia. I know it's common to move from Australia to Thailand, but he just lives this crazy life.
Oh yeah, I don't follow that dude. I've never seen that. But yo, I follow tons of gyms in Thailand. And let me correct this first. I believe Muay Thai is an insane art form, and it is a very pure art form. Just to me, visually, boxing is what I prefer over that. But don't get it twisted. Muay Thai is a real ancient art form. Dude. But yeah, dude, I'm with you guys because I want to say like every year, like a group of us will be like, I'll text somebody like my friend Brendan. I'll be like, dude, let's go to Muay Thai and train. And then I'll text my friend John, who runs American Barbell Club. I'm like, yeah, like let's go to Thailand. And then I'll like just get everybody in this loop, like Josiah from Criminal Instinct. I'll be like, yeah, you want to do this? And everybody's like, yeah. And then it just doesn't happen. But I swear to fucking God, I'm looking in the camera. It's gonna fucking happen in like a year. We're gonna go for a month, 2 months, something like that.
I went to Thailand and I went to a Muay Thai gym, but I was strictly boxing at the time. And I just went because I'm in Thailand. I'm going to go to a Muay Thai gym. And I was watching them, everyone train and stuff. And it was like an outdoor gym. Like a lot of the gyms out there are outdoor gyms. Yeah. It was really cool. It was crazy. And I was watching documentaries. The little kids, they start training when they're this big. Yeah. And their diet as a fighter is just white rice. And
it's crazy.
It's next to nothing.
I mean, dude, it's just the culture.
That's their national sport.
Yeah, it's just the culture. Yeah. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? They love it, and that's what they do. Yeah. And there's something awesome about that. There's something like oddly like, we living in America look at it as like, oh, it's fucked up. You make those kids do it, but it's like, dude, there's something like very pure and like awesome about that. Yeah.
There are lessons that you learn when you're fighting and going through situations like that you're just not going to learn in a regular sport.
No.
You won't.
No.
So the average man or female will have a lot more, I guess, like integrity and character because they know what it is to be humbled on a daily basis and to really push yourself on another level.
Yo, I talk about that all the time, like, especially like in like the trades, you run into a lot of assholes. Yeah. And that's just like the way it is. But like, yo, you sometimes like you just know like this dude has never been beat up before. And that's why he is the way he is. You know what I mean? Like it's fucked up because you want to just like sometimes you want to just smash somebody because you know that when they get hit they're just gonna be like, oh, like because they've never had that humbling experience before. But you always just kind of like I'll just whatever, like you just brush it off.
Especially when as you really learn whatever specific discipline you're in, whether it be Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling or whatever, like boxing. You know what's gonna happen if you get into a fight with them. It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be like a busted lip. There's gonna, especially if they don't know anything, it's gonna be a serious issue that you're better off just avoiding 100%. As a whole. Because what do? I leg kick this guy, he falls, and then I feint it again. I kick him in the head, and now he's dead. Or now he's on the floor. I have to run away from my life.
Yo, I mean, dude, people have killed each other in lesser situations. You know what I mean? Like just accidentally, like in a dumb street fight. You could just like hit somebody the wrong way, they hit their head. That's it. Your whole life is fucked. Yeah, and it's like over what?
Do you know Jordan from Rude Awakening, right?
Yeah.
I saw you were rocking one of his True Path t-shirts.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He just posted on the other day on his story about how people who haven't been in these situations have no idea how quickly an argument between two men can turn into an actual life or death scenario.
Yeah, straight up.
He talks about like self-defense and like the best self-defense out there in his opinion is jiu-jitsu to learn, you know. And we were talking about the kids. It's funny because we were just talking about that the other day. He sent me a meme. It was like, we should have this instead of this. And half the meme was like
just people on their cell phones.
It was like no. It was the one where it was two little girls. They're like 5 years old or something, and they're wearing jiu-jitsu gis and they're like talking to each other on the bleachers. And the other half was like, I don't know if you know about the new series on Netflix, the Cuties shit. It like promotes like some type of like pedophilia shit. That's about. Yeah. So like it just shows that like if we have this certain level of discipline of like the youth learning martial art like jiu-jitsu instead of them being brainwashed by some fucking bullshit like that, is just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, dude, I'm with you, man. Like I was saying, like I wrestled when I was young and I was in high school and I loved wrestling and like. You know, it taught me a lot about like self-discipline and things like that, but I don't think it really clicked in my head that like something like that teaches you so much more about life, and you don't even realize it. You know what I mean? It teaches you how to carry yourself and how to present yourself to people. And like, I mean, I sound like I'm a fucking 80-year-old man, but it's like, dude, kids these days don't need that shit. You know, at least the way I see it, like they seem to need that kind of shit, and they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's cool, you know. At Citan, like I see so many kids in their classes, and it's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
No,
I fucking love it. Like, gets me, like, I can't be like, hell yeah, like I can't talk to them about it. But like I watch, you know, like I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome. Like I'm happy that like kids want to learn shit like this.
Especially nowadays, it's so easy to get stuck on like electronics.
Yeah,
People like, people have a child and they're feeding them an iPad and they're like a month old already. You know what I mean? Just so they shut up and don't cry. Like that's the whole fucking thing is off balance, man. Like,
yeah, it's like one of those things though. It's like part of me is like, you know, this is just the way we've evolved. This is like where we've progressed. This is where we're at
with the times. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I'm sure at like a point when fucking TVs were brand new, people were like, oh, these people in front of their fucking TVs, and now it's like if somebody watches TV, everybody's like, okay, like it doesn't mean anything. But it's like, I don't know, man. It seems like we've gotten to this point that's like, it's not like TVs. It's like something entirely different, and I don't know what the fuck it is, but it does seem like people really, really need something like any martial art. Like
but
anything.
even like, like when I pass a playground like by my house, when I see kids playing it, I'm like, what the fuck? Kids do this? It's so sick.
Yo, that is awesome. But it's like, on the other hand, like, I fucking talked to my parents. Like, they live in Long Island, and I'm like, like, on Halloween, like, they're like, nobody came this year. Like, zero people came. Like, I think it was like 2 years ago. They told me 0 people came. I'm like, how? Like, how is that possible?
And it's not even that long ago either.
Yeah, I know. Like when I was a kid, I'm 30. When I was a kid and I was like 10, the streets were filled with fucking people. Like, filled with kids and fucking their parents and like everything. And now it's just not. And maybe it's better. I don't fucking know. To me, it seems like it's not.
I don't know.
I agree. I mean, I think there are aspects to it that are definitely positive, but I just think it takes us meaning just people as a whole, far away from what our bodies and like our DNA and our brain is wired to do. Like, we're wired to like be in a community, I guess, suffering together in some sense, physically or mentally or emotionally, but we're all together getting through this like event, whether it be hunting for food or making sure that we're going to have enough food to grow for the next season. And I think things like martial arts, or even if you're a part of some yoga class and you're like doing like hot yoga and you're in there suffering for an hour with a bunch of other people, it takes you back. Maybe you don't realize it, but the reason that you feel good afterwards, or even just a serious workout, because it takes you back to that time when when we were
primal
state, fulfilling this thing that we don't have, because now we hop in our car or hop on the air-conditioned train, and we don't have to. I can guarantee that I can go get food from the supermarket. I don't have to. There's no struggle. There is struggle, but it's not that. It's
not
kind.
The same.
Exactly.
It's all. I mean, it's fucking. What the fuck is it? Maslov? His
hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, like, I mean, dude, everything's fulfilled besides like the top 2 tiers, and it's like that's kind of where we're at as like, you know, as a society. It's just where we are, and it's not anybody's fault. It's not like somebody did something fucked up, but it's like, what the like. Maybe we need to go back down to like not having food or shelter. Like, I don't
feel like it's coming, bro.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, if you go to a fucking gun store, I'm sure they'll tell you the same thing. Dude, it's coming.
The turning point's
it's
coming,
man. You better fucking get some guns and some ammo. It's coming.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about, to see if you are into Eastern philosophy at all, because I noticed that some of your songs, you have Blue Lotus. The lotus is a very important, significant plant in a lot of Eastern philosophies, as well as The Art of War, which is a book by Sun Tzu. And then some of your lyrics, to me, they remind me. I currently do read a lot of death poems, Japanese death poems called jiseis, which is a poem that samurais would write before they would go into battle in case they died, kind of just accepting it. Right. And I have it written down. Let me get it out. One of your lyrics. I learned kind of a lot on these, and one of your lyrics, it's like a Japanese death poem. It was like,
it's crazy.
There is no compromise, not even in the face of death. Temple of thought held by kings. These statements set me free. It's like
it's so weird because like, obviously, like, okay, not obviously. I've never heard of any of that before. Like, well, the death poem thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess the way that I kind of like approach like writing lyrics is kind of like, if I die, this is what I stood for. This is where I'm fucking at. Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's more if you want to continue, but yeah, man, like it's, I guess that is the kind of way that I approach writing lyrics. So more of like a grander, like, you know, and to be fair, there's some King 9 lyrics that I don't write that, you know, like we as a band, like somebody has a, you know, a portion of something, or somebody has like, you know, this, and they want to work on this, and like we'll write it together. But like those lyrics specifically I did write, and that's like a very like general, like this is how I want to live. And to be fair too, like some of that stuff comes from like LaVeyan Satanism and stuff, because it's all about like, you know, the power of yourself, the power of I, like it's about, you know, controlling yourself in that that fashion, which I mean kind of does mirror some of that Eastern philosophy
absolutely
stuff. It's not exactly like, you know, the same, but it does mirror some of that stuff.
Yeah, the power of yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because a lot of those philosophies, I feel like, especially with Buddhism, a lot of people think that it's like a god that you're supposed to worship, but the theory is that everyone has that inside of them, that you can become that enlightened person that is free from the worldly problems. It's like the power of I, what you can do. And another thing you're talking about too, you were saying how you do try to, in case you die, it's like maybe a sentence in your song could be totality of what you were feeling at that exact moment.
Right.
And that's another big thing with G-Says.
Yeah.
Like there's this one lyric you have, and it's like with a lyric you can explain something that could be explained in a few pages, but just with one line. So it's like growing up, try to do what's right. Fool's way brings the end of your life.
You know what's crazy? Like, dude, you're expanding on these things, and it's just like, to me, it's like, yeah, I'm going to write this dumb shit down right now. But it's like, yeah, it is a thought that like tries to sum up more of like how me, or how somebody, you know what I mean? Like how I live, or how I want to portray something, portray a moment of time. And it's like, man, you're breaking this shit down way deeper than I could have ever even thought of it.
It's interesting though, because it's relative with the times too, because a lot of this Eastern philosophy, like these G-Says, were written like hundreds of years ago, and those words relate like pretty much exactly to now. You wouldn't think. And it's just like this like the meaning of life in a way is like very similar, like going through all these trials and tribulations, like whether they're not the exact same situations and scenarios or locations, but they're very similar in terms of mindsets and what you go through, you know?
I mean, dude, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You know what I mean? Like it's like a very timeless phrase. It really is, because as much as we stray from the way things may have been at one point in time, or how they were even, you know, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, it really doesn't change as much. It's just sort of like the setting, like you were saying. It's like, it's just like the setting we're in, and you know, how we're living, or how we go about our days. But things tend to end and start the same way.
It's in our nature.
Yeah.
How did you get into hardcore?
So my brother, all right. So when I was very, very young, how old was I? I must have been like 8 years old. I fucking saw the movie Clueless.
Okay.
And Mighty Mighty Boss Stones are playing in that movie. And they're like playing and like stage diving and stuff. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? So I like asked for a fucking Mighty Mighty Boss Stones CD. And the CD I got for my birthday was Ska, Core the Devil, and a Whole Lot More. Which literally the person just got it, was like, oh, here you go. Like, just bought you this CD. Like, they don't know what the fuck they're looking at.
Yeah.
And it had a single from that movie, which I knew from that fucking movie, and then 5 covers on it that were an SSD cover, an Angry Samoans cover, a Minor Threat cover, 2 others that I can't remember. But yeah, there's these covers on it. And like, I played that CD every fucking day for like years. And then, you know, time goes by, my brother is into like metal and stuff like that. I start listening to the same shit he is. He's 7 years older than me. So he was listening to like Pantera and shit. You know, this is probably like, I guess, fucking 1999, 2000. Like he's listening to that stuff. I'm like, oh, like, dude, my brother's cool. Like, I'm going to listen to that same stuff. So I start listening to that shit. Then he I don't know how the fuck he finds it, but he finds hardcore somehow. Shows me some old Long Island bands like Sky Came Falling, VOD, like gives me all these CDs. And I start listening to that shit. And then I like, as I get a little older and I'm like 12, he starts bringing me to shows. And I like kind of revert to fucking that Mighty Mighty Boss Stones CD and being like, oh, I know this song. Oh, I know this song. And it was like SSD and Minor Threat and stuff. And I was a young kid, but I knew them because I had this fucking CD. And I like was like, oh, I know this shit. And then I just started looking into that stuff, like SSD, Minor Threat and all that stuff. And I still loved like metal and all that. But I like slowly, like since I was 8, was taking in like hardcore and punk, and like I had no fucking idea until my brother kind of like exposed it to me at that little bit later of an age.
What was the first show you went to?
So my brother, like, he had brought me to a couple shows on Long Island when I was younger. Like, he had brought me to like a shutdown show, I think, and he had brought me to like a fucking GFY show. I don't know if you guys know who GFY is. Oddly enough, Keith, the singer, one of the singers of GFY, is actually Keith, the UFC ref that had that crazy shit happen with Dominic Cruz. Yeah, he's an old Long Island hardcore dude.
What?
Yeah, and he played in this band GFY, and he also played in a band Losers Sometimes Win. But yeah, he like it brought me to those shows when I was younger. When I was like super young, I was like 12, like 11 or 12, but the first like real show that I went to on my own, like I wanted to go see them, was a Most Precious Blood show in like 2004.
How old are you about?
I had to be 14.
14.
Yeah, 14 or no, I was definitely I definitely hadn't turned 15 yet. But yeah, it was Most Precious Blood, Thieves and Assassins, and Haste the Day.
Okay.
And I didn't know who Haste the Day was, but I had listened to Nothing in Vain like maybe 10 million times. And so I was fucking so excited for that fucking show. And I just remember like being like taking everything in like all at once and just being so overwhelmed with like what the fuck is happening, like because when I went to shows when I was younger, I just like stood there and just like kind of watched from a distance, and like it was crazy, but like I didn't like do anything. I just stood there. And then when I went to that show, I was like, all right, like I'm gonna like get in the mix here. And like I was getting hit, I was like, I didn't know what the fuck was happening, but it was obviously changing my life.
That's amazing. One of the first New York, I think the first New York show I went to, because I'm from Mass.
Yeah.
So I hadn't been to a New York show, but I had already been going to shows for a few years. And it was Rude Awakening, you guys, Trapped Under Ice, Naysayer, Backtrack at the Bohemian Society.
Yeah.
One other band played.
Probably Born Low.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Born Low played. And then I had never heard of you guys. And I think you guys were just starting up.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think that was like maybe a year into us being a band, maybe 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I was like, okay, it's the second band is about to play. I've never heard of them. I feel like people probably won't know them. It probably won't be anything that crazy. And it was insane.
Yeah. Yo, I can't.
It was absolutely insane.
I can't believe how crazy our shows were looking back at it when we just had like nothing out. We had like a demo.
Yo, that's what was out. It was just the one demo. It was like 4 songs.
Yeah.
It was the White with the King 9.
Yeah. And we actually had a song out on a comp at that point too. That song No Dreams, that's at the end of our newest record.
Yeah.
Was the first song we ever released on anything before our demo, because Che from Flat Spot Records was like, hey, do you want to be on this comp with your new band? And I was like, yeah, sure. And just gave him this song. Yeah. And then we like recorded the demo after that. And that's all we had. And when shows were fucking crazy, it made no fucking sense to me. Because honestly, the demo sounds like shit. And people were like, no, man, it's good. I was like, dude, no, it's bad. Like, you don't have to lie to me. Like, it's bad.
Yeah, that was absolutely nuts. I was not expecting that at all. I just remember one moment it was completely calm, and the next moment you guys started playing.
Yeah, it was.
I forget what the name of the song is. You guys opened up with the song starts with a bass, and it's like
Damnation.
yes.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Yo, it's.
I just
crazy.
remember Freaky Franz was there.
Yeah.
He like cartwheeled. See like Jordan's coming at me.
I think that's like mostly why it was crazy, and mostly why like we got off to a start that we did, because like our friends just kind of put on for us. Franz, like Backtrack, TY, like everybody just like put on for us, and we were like, people were just like, oh, okay, this band King 9, like these people like it, so let's hear it. And I think that's kind of like what gave us that little bit, that like shove in the beginning to like, you know, for people to like us out of the gate. Which,
where's the name come from? King 9.
So the band existed before I was ever in it. Okay. But it was just like bullshit, like we're in a basement, let's start a band, then let's just play whatever. And they never wrote any songs. And Gian, the guitar player, had named the band with somebody else. I don't remember who it was at the time. And King 9 is just a Twilight Zone episode. It's called King 9 Will Not Return. And it's just like a fighter pilot goes, I don't fucking know. I literally don't even know. Okay. It's just some fucking Twilight Zone episode, and it's like that's the plane in the Twilight Zone episode. And everybody's always like, oh, you play cards, and I do, and I gamble like just a disgusting amount, but like I'm like, nah, I didn't even name the band. Like I would never name my band.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I would never name my band after a dog shit hand like King 9. Like I wouldn't do that, but it works, I guess, and it's unique too. So fuck it.
And when did you start coming up with? Well, when did your mindset start evolving into what it is in your King 9 lyrics? Like in other interviews, they talk about how you talk about the gift of life and how we are pretty much fulfilling the only prophecy that is for us, which is extinction, and we're just causing our own demise, which to a large extent is very true.
Especially now.
Especially now, and with all the technology we have that should bring us further, we're using it for, you know, crazy ways and stuff like that. When did that mindset of we're screwing everything up is?
I feel like it's always been there when I was young, because I grew up like a really angry kid, like fighting all the time, like always mad at something, always like not in a good mood basically. And like I feel like this like disdain I have for society and the people who run it and the people who just like exist in it without any sort of like rational thought that this is like a fucked up thing that we're going through. I think it's always been there, because I've always viewed people like, you know, fucking people you go to high school with that are just like mindless. They don't care about anything. They just exist. That's it. They just simply exist. Yeah. And like, I've always had like such a fucking disgust for that. I've hated those people forever. And I feel like when I was younger, I was never really able to like put any of that into words or thoughts or even like a real mindset. It was always just like mad, angry, very hateful. And as I got older, probably in like my early 20s, I started to like really kind of like, I guess for lack of a better word, like refine that like anger and like pinpoint like why I'm so mad about things. And it's like, yo man, like things happen in your life and you just see it happen and you just see no one give a shit. Yeah. And it's like, I hate this. Like I fucking hate this. I can't, like, you know what I mean? Like you watch your parents work 2 fucking jobs and they bust their ass and they can't get ahead. And you don't know why when you're a kid, but when you're older, you know why. Because it's like they are stuck in this cycle of bullshit that we're all stuck in. And you just think, oh, they just like, my parents are fucking poor, whatever bullshit it is. It's like, that's not the case. They're fucking working. They're trying to do their best. And we have to sit there and it just has digged at me and just dug at me for so fucking long since I was a little kid. And I think in my older years, I started to like really like see like, oh, this is how it works. This is why I'm so mad at everything. And this is why I fucking hate pretty much everything on the planet. Yeah.
Yo, that's funny you say that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people in hardcore feel that way. Me personally, growing up, I'm 24 and I got into hardcore I'm terrible with ages and like when I would.
Yeah.
But probably at least 14 years old or 13 years old.
Yeah, right about the same time I did
and
too.
I just remember feeling pretty much pinpoint the exact same way. Maybe not as aware of it, but just very had a very sour taste in my mouth for high school people, or just I'd be walking down the street, see a bunch of like, I guess you could say, people who just exist, and I would legitimately get angry. Yeah. And I think that, at least, I feel like that it takes a special person, as corny as it is to say, or a different kind of person, to think that hardcore is cool in any aspect. Because if you were to show the lyrics to a regular person, regular meaning, not a depressed or angry person, that's not like a cool thing. Like, some of the lyrics are extremely depressing. Yeah. And maybe I'll be like, wow, that's beautiful. That was really written really well. Listen to this. And normal person might be like, how is that? What is wrong with you? Yeah. Or even just going to a show. I just look forward to going to a show and just like, who looks forward to going to a show and running up into a crowd of people you don't know and just like jumping and punching them? Who looks forward to that?
It's like, you get made fun of for it in fucking high school. You know what I mean? You wear some band shirt, you hear some fucking jerk off be like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like, you know what I mean? They just like, oh, what is that? That kill your mother, kill your father shit. Like, yeah. But like, it almost like galvanizes you, because you get into this thing that seems different and cool because you are different. Maybe not cool, but you're different. So you don't want to be like everybody else. And you already are like, you break away from the pack right there. So you go that way. And then every time you hear some fucking dumb moron be like, oh, yeah, what is that? You're a freak. Like, whatever bullshit. They call you a freak. They say, you're crazy, whatever it is, it just pushes you further away and just pushes you into that path. And it's like, I have so much built up inside of me that I'm so angry at things that I hear people sing these lyrics that describe how I feel, and I'm fucking there. I'm like, it's like, holy shit, this person feels the same way.
The first show I went to, man, like, it was the craziest feeling ever, because growing up, like we're all talking about, I would feel isolated from everybody. Like, in high school, sure, I would be friends, hang around people, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like I'm them. And the thing is, like, growing up and feeling that way, you don't have the mindset and you don't know what's going on in the world, so you think something's wrong with you. You think that, why are you the oddball? Why you start like hating yourself almost. But like, I remember when I went to my first show, I like was standing in the crowd, and to hear the lyrics and like everybody around me passionately screaming about what I've been thinking about my whole childhood and like growing up, it was like, I was like shedding a tear. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, there's people that think this way. There's people that really give a shit about what the fuck is going on. Like, it's insane. I didn't believe it. I thought I was like the only one in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's like almost like it's like a trope at this point for hardcore kids to be like, oh, I was different and I didn't know why. But it's the fucking truth. Like, it's like, it's based in reality. Like, we all are fucked up. We all are fucking, we're in weird spots in our lives, or whether our family life is fucked up or something is wrong, and you just drift away from normal life, and you find this thing where it's just like, everybody else here is just like mentally unstable, and like, you know what I mean? Like, you find this thing where you're like, oh, everybody's crazy. So this is awesome. Like, this is where I belong. And you just fucking fit right in. And there are people, like, I know before my time going to shows, I know that there was a time in the late 90s where hardcore was like actually like popular, fucking, and especially working in the trades, you always meet some motherfucker who's in his like early 40s, like, oh, bro, I know hardcore, yo, I listen to Biohazard. Like, it's just like, no, he was just some fucking moron who heard Biohazard. And it's like, it was popular at a time. And there would be people that would like come in and out of it because it was just a popular thing. And then, but those motherfuckers get weeded out real fast because it's not meant for fucking normal people. And I know people have all this like bullshit about gatekeeping and it's for everybody. Dude, it's not. It's just not. Like, no matter what way you break it down, it's for everybody at face value. it's not going to turn you away because you look a certain way, you feel a certain way, you identify a certain. It's never going to turn you away for those things, but it will fucking turn you away real fast if you don't belong. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with any of those factors I just said before. Mm-hmm. But we've all seen it. We've all fucking seen it. People come in, they say this, that, and the other thing, and they say hardcore is a toxic place and a fucking, everybody's a piece of shit there. And it's like, while you're kind of right that there are plenty of pieces of shit to go around, it's also just like, it just wasn't for you. And that's fucking fine. But just see ya. Like, later.
You have this one interview where you talk about violence being natural. And then a lot of people think of peace as the only alternative or what should be more common. And you say, if anything, violence is, clearly it is natural to some extent.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Think about it. It's in nature. It's in everybody's nature to be violent in one way or another. Mm-hmm. Whether it's hunting for food, which is inherently a violent act. If you're eating meat, it's not violent to cut up a plant. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's in our DNA to be violent. Whether it's with each other or with something else, with an animal or something like that, it's inside of us to be violent. And if everybody that has this peace is the way to go, peace is the way to go. Yeah, it is for the most part. But the idea of completely abstaining from violence is bullshit. Yeah. It's bullshit. I agree. And it's not something that, and it goes right back to the martial arts shit we were talking about before. Like, it's not something that should be used all the time. Mm-hmm. I understand that. But the truth is that it's like, it's in our nature to be violent. Why not embrace that in the most positive way you can? I'm not saying go out and fucking kill a bunch of people, but if you're going to go out and you're going to just train and beat people up and beat yourself up, like that's violence. And that's important. As much as it seems like it's counterintuitive, that's an important thing to have violence in your life.
We were talking about this quote walking out of jiu-jitsu the other day, how it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Of course.
You know what I mean? To always have that inside of you instead of not being ready when, shit does happen.
Dude, everybody in their life is going to face something violent at some point or another.
Especially living in this Kali Yuga city,
But it's true, man. Like, you're going to face violence. It's going to fucking happen. And when it comes for you, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Don't look for trouble, but sometimes trouble finds you. Mm-hmm. It's true, man. Like, it really is. Like, it's just gonna find you. Yeah. And if you want to sit there and just be like, no, I don't want any part of it, be my fucking guest, but it's not gonna go your way. And you think, I always think that when people fucking have that attitude of like, like sort of like turn the other cheek about that stuff, it's just like, no, you're just like, you're soft. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're just fucking soft. Yeah. You don't want to like participate in the violence because you're afraid of it.
It goes back to being how people love to be comfortable. Yeah. It's all in that category. I look at it as like the yin and the yang. Yes, there's a side of you that can be comfortable, but there has to be a side of you that can also endure some type of uncomfort in life, because it's inevitable. Uncomfort is very inevitable.
How are you supposed to grow if you're always comfortable?
I mean, you know what it is too? So when people say violence is natural, violence is not natural, or this is natural, this is not natural, that word natural, people think that means only good. Oh yeah. People think that when they say the word natural, that means everything is just in harmony. But in the natural world, there's tons of cannibalism, rape, and murder. Yeah. Just aside from humans, this is just inherent disorder and chaos just occurs from time to time in the natural world. So to think that humans, if anything, it would be unnatural to be completely happy and peaceful 24/7, because how can you feel just one emotion 24/7?
Exactly. And you see a guy like that and you know immediately like something's fucked up with this dude. Like something is not right with this dude. Like he's always like, no, I'm happy, I'm peaceful.
That dude's
like,
doing some weird shit at home.
Something's going on, man. Like I don't know what it is, but something's going on.
The thing is too, the countries that have really advocated for strict peace, because of their overall philosophy, such as like places in Asia who are just crazy, super Buddhist countries that really refuse to partake in that. They get kind of stomped on as time goes on because, I guess in theory, on paper, it would work if everyone was like that. Yeah. But everyone's not. So if you do that, there are going to be people who come and take advantage.
100%. And in a lyric in one of our songs is, for the ones who bleed, it means nothing. Because it's true. People who are violent are not going to be like, oh, well, that person's not violent. It doesn't stay away from you just because you decide that you don't want to partake in it. Mm. And it sucks, man. You know, like, you want to say, like, oh, yeah, of course world peace is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But it's never going to happen. Yeah. It's true. The Cro-Mags are right. It just can't happen, dude. Mm-hmm. It's never going to happen.
The age of coral.
Yeah, that's exactly... Again, that was written, what? It's 2020. That was written 30 plus years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's still true. It's all relevant. You pick any one of those songs, it's all relevant. Except for, the AIDS might not get you in the song, but it's all still relevant.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He came on our show, like I was telling you, and when he was super cool, and then when he left, he came in, he was wearing Dickies shorts and whatever, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go. He takes off his shirt, takes off his Dickies shorts, and he's wearing the Iron Man, whatever. Dude. And he starts running, and he runs from here
He's
to
fucking Joe Rogan's best friend.
Yeah.
Talks about him all the goddamn time on that podcast.
Yeah. He runs from here to the LES. And I was sitting here with Z after for a while, and we're like, yo, he's still running right now.
Yeah.
He's definitely still running right now.
Yeah, from here to the Lower East Side. Yeah. For people who don't know, that's far as fuck. Yeah. That's like as far as you can go.
Yeah. Probably take about 3 hours.
Yeah. Yo, good for him.
Absolutely. With this whole COVID thing that's been happening, it reminds me a lot about your reasoning behind making Scared to Death as the album cover, and it's like the dude in his bed. There's a bunch of, oh, this is going to do this, and this is going to do that. What was your thoughts on the whole thing because my thoughts on it personally is that nobody knows for sure what is going on because, you can have educated guesses, but no one really knows for sure. There's a bunch of speculations. Oh, the virus is fake. Oh, it's real. Oh, it's made in a factory. Oh, no, it's natural. But who knows? You know what I mean? I don't know. But one thing is for sure is that if anything, whether it's real or fake, what has been exposed is that the news and the media has a really powerful impact on how they can make you feel, to the point where you can be someone who you will legitimately be in fear because of something that you saw but maybe have not experienced firsthand, or maybe you have. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I mean, dude, we all see it. The manipulation of everything by media it's rampant, and I don't know if it, none of us can know if it was this bad at one point and we just didn't know it. Mm-hmm. But it's like everything is just like, we're going to scare the shit out of you because you're going to read this or you're going to watch this. And it's like you're forced to exist in your world, your own small world, and then just have every single thing just thrown at you, whether it be like COVID is going to kill everybody, mm-hmm. which is like when this shit first started, I was like, damn, I guess this is just it, huh? Like, like buying ammo, like, you know what I mean? I was like, this is it. Like, but it's just like I felt like a sucker. Like I bit on that shit that they pushed, that mm-hmm. it's like, this is going to fucking kill us, instead of being level-headed and be like, okay, like, let's look at this rationally. Like, mm-hmm. what's going on? Like, let's just be cautious. Mm-hmm. But it's like, dude, they just push everything down your throat that we are going to fucking die. And it's like, now, maybe they're right, because it seems like we might, but they use all of it. It's the same shit that they did, they've been doing, I guess. And, whether it's pushing fucking Son of Sam stories where it's like, you're going to get killed by Son. If you're a girl in mm-hmm. the city, Son of Sam is going to kill you. Because people fucking freaked out, dyed their hair, all that shit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they've been doing that to us. Yeah. And it's like, we don't really think about it because it's like, oh, it's just the news. That's just what's happening. Mm-hmm. But it's the way they word things, the way they present things. It's just, they fucking just bombard you with half-truths. Mm-hmm. And it's, look, it's fucking every media outlet does it. There's probably a few that don't. Maybe Al Jazeera. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
But like, they just bombard you with bullshit, and they sensationalize almost everything, and it leads us to this fucking point where we're like, parents send their kids to school. Is my kid gonna get killed at school?
No.
Is he gonna get shot at school? And it's like, yeah, that does happen. It is a fucking problem in this country. But like, what the fuck is it? Are we feeding into it with all this media, or is the media like pushing this and it's turning? Recently, I've thought about this, about the whole video game argument, about like violent video games and violent music and whatever. And like, dude, maybe it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We sit here and it's like, you see all these fucking cops out there killing people, and it's just like, that these fucking morons go home and they watch these movies where cops are fucking in gunfights and this and that, and they think they're gonna go out and do that shit. They think like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm fucking whatever fucking action hero. I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna kill the bad guy. And it's just like, no, you're just some moron racist cop that's just like, it seems like there might have been some truth in that whole like violent movies and violent video games thing. And I don't give a fuck. I'm glad that we have all these violent things because I like consuming them. But like, dude, there might be some truth to that. Sitting behind a TV and killing people constantly and just over and over and over and over and over again. Dude, I sit on my phone and I just watch cartels kill people. I'm like, oh, it's crazy. Like, just watch people get hacked up and just murdered in crazy ways. And it's just nothing. It's just doesn't even affect me. And it's like, how the fuck did we get here? How did I get here? I don't know what the hell's going on, but like, this is where we're at now. And it just seems like it's just, I don't know, man. Maybe they just are finding what's the worst in us and just constantly just hammering on that like one thing.
I really question why America has more school shootings than other places. Dude, I really question that.
I don't know.
It's really strange.
I wonder if it has to do with like, I mean, you can't possibly put this into any sort of numbers or anything like that, but I wonder if it has to do with like, maybe America has more people who care less about others. You know what I mean? Like, I was reading something today that was talking about how American society is just, it's all about yourself. Like, I got mine. Like, I got mine. Like, it doesn't matter what anybody else has. And it's like, I don't know, but I fucking highly doubt a majority of other societies are like that.
They don't have that.
They're just not.
I don't think there's been my family's from Ecuador. I don't think there's been a single school shooting in Ecuador, and that's an impoverished country where people get robbed all the time.
And they want to blame it. Look, man, I'm all for guns. I love guns. Yeah. And I'm a pretty fucking liberal guy. But people on the left want to blame that shit on guns. It's like, yeah, that's the tool, but like, there's something else going on.
Yeah,
like, there's something else. It's not just that, because if we didn't have guns, there'd be mass stabbings. You know what I mean? Like, there is something going on. And if you look at like a country like the UK, that's like, that I feel gets influenced from a lot of American things, they have problems with that. They have problems with like stabbing, not school stabbings as far as I fucking know, but they have problems with like mass stabbings and things like that. And it's like, I mean, they're essentially learning from us how to fucking kill each other. I don't know.
Yeah, with the whole
I was gonna say, going back to like the news outlets, how I think it all has to do with them like subconsciously feeding us that negativity all the time. Cause I was thinking about this morning, like I don't watch the news like on the TV. Like, I usually never sit down. Like, I don't really even have a TV, so I don't even sit down and watch the news. But when I go to the gym, there's like screens, throughout the gym, and I always sometimes catch glimpses of it, and it's always like a fucking fire, caution tape, dead body. Like, you know what I mean? It's always something.
What's that fucking... I feel like I've seen it in movies 100 times. If it bleeds, it leads. Like, that's like how they run the news. That's how it fucking operates. They're not like, hey, this guy did a good thing. Good for him. It's just like, no, this person was killed. This person was shot. You know what I mean? Like, like even this summer, like I don't know how long you've been living in New York, but in the city in the summer, shootings always go up. Everybody's outside. Everybody's out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's just a common thing when it's hotter.
Yeah, and it's not just New York. It's fucking everywhere. But it's like no one's gonna be outside in a blizzard shooting at each other because fuck that.
Yeah.
But like they always will be like, New York City's turning into a shithole again. It's going back to the 80s. It's getting bad. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. No, it's not. That's just what the news is telling you. So you're going to come to me and parrot that same shit that you heard on the news for fucking 5 seconds.
And the thing is, with the whole going back to the guns thing, if you're someone who's going to rob a house, you're going to go to a neighborhood where you know everyone's soft.
Yeah.
You are not going to go somewhere where people are strapped.
Yeah.
Because why would you ever do that?
Path of least resistance.
Yeah. So the gun laws, I don't know much about guns, but I know that the gun laws don't really stop people who would be getting them regardless to do whatever they're going to do. They don't really care if it's legal if they're going to shoot someone with
exactly.
it. But you can't shoot. If you shoot someone with a legal gun, they're going to find you.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's the other thing too. If you're going to fucking go out and, do some bad shit, you don't want to do bad shit with all the legal shit you have. So it's like, I don't know, man. I think all the New York State gun laws are fucking incredibly stupid.
You can't have anything here, can you?
Oh, in the city, forget it. You can't. The city, no way.
Yeah.
But you go out to Long Island, you go upstate, it's much more lax.
Okay.
And you can get, whatever. But like in Long Island, like you can't.
You can't even have brass knuckles.
No, fuck no. That's a fucking felony. That's a weapons charge. Yeah, dude.
John, even if it's in your house, I'm pretty sure you can't have it.
John from Backtrack, who also plays in King 9, went to the airport. Like when Backtrack, I think it might have been Backtrack's first trip to the West Coast. Went to the airport, had his backpack, went through the fucking metal detector, pair of brass knuckles, arrested him, didn't go to California.
What?
Yeah, dude. Like
they arrested him right there?
Fuck yeah. That is a weapons charge. In the eyes of New York State, that's like having a gun on you. It's so goddamn stupid.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You could do some work with brass knuckles, but you shouldn't get arrested just for having them, in my opinion.
Look, he was in the airport trying to get on a plane, so maybe they were kind of right to arrest him. But, dude, like, I don't know, man. My friend Dan, who passed away years ago, but same shit. The first night I met him, he was friends with my brother. He had brass knuckles on him, and fucking, it was 4th of July. I was like 12. He had brass knuckles on him, just like in his pocket. We were lighting off fireworks. Cops pulled up. He tried to ditch him. They found him. They arrested him. Felony, weapons charge. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Did he do time?
No, he got it bumped down. I think he got an ACOD for it. So they were like, not a big deal. But like, also, man, not to change subjects, but like, he was a white guy. So who the fuck knows what happens if he's not white? You know what I mean? He probably doesn't get an ACOD for that. He probably gets some form of time or whatever, and it's just that's a whole fucking other topic.
Or even the situation escalates, like who
you
fucking knows on the spot?
You just don't fucking know.
Well, do you know what happens if you saw off the barrel of a shotgun and you have it and they find it in your house?
I'm gonna guess that they're gonna bump up a felony gun possession charge to something crazy.
You'll probably do time.
Fuck. I mean, dude, if you get caught with a fucking gun in your house that's illegal, see ya. Like they're not.
Because the sawed off is illegal everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Regardless.
Or as far as I know, there's probably some states that it doesn't matter. But yeah, like any like I think it's like home modification of a gun without a license to do so or some shit like that. Like, because you can make silencers if you know what you're doing. You can mill out whole guns if you know how to fucking.
You can make anything.
Yeah,
that's what people make them. So
exactly, man. Like you could do any of that shit, but it's like they bump up those charges like crazy.
It's crazy because we're supposed to have right to bear arms in New York. You really don't. You
do in a way, like you can get a long gun and not New York City.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, New York City.
Yeah, New York City. No, they just went. Nah, you can't have everything. You gotta have a permit to have everything.
And what's stopping every other state from doing that?
Who fucking knows? Why is it just New York City? Why is it not? New York. There's New York State compliant ARs.
There are places way more dangerous than New York.
Dude, you're telling me.
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea. I think they think it's like, dude, there's a lot of like interchangeable parts here because they make those gun laws, right? And those gun laws didn't exist, I think, until like the 2000 maybe.
Okay.
And the city gets much better, less crime, gets cleaned up. Like, I think they look at it like, oh well,
It's working.
it worked.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah,
You don't know
that's
if
not
that
it. Yeah,
com-
like it's other shit. Like that's not what it is. Because here's another thing, you talk to anybody that's lived in the city their whole life, their family probably has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they, however they got it. But it's just like, that's just how it works here. And I don't fucking know why. It's fucking stupid. Maybe if it was different, we'd be in a worse spot. Who's to fucking
knows?
say? But it's like, I feel like the people that don't want you to have guns are the people that I don't think they give a shit about the people getting killed with guns. I feel like they give a shit about some other thing.
Yeah.
Whether it be their own well-being because they're, you know, shitty at their job being a politician. And
It might just be like a form of control. You know what I mean? When shit hits the fan, you don't want people gathering up and having that type of ammunition.
You don't want them to come to your fucking house. Yo, think about this. Like, think about it like this. You can threaten any person on the internet. You could just I can at you right now and be like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
They don't care. The second it's a politician or somebody in some sort of like higher standing in our society, they're going right after you. They don't give a shit about you or me. It's like, I feel like gun laws are a sort of like subsect of that. You know what I mean? But there's a whole nother conversation to be had about people who own tons of guns and that's like their identity as a person as a gun owner. It's like that's a whole nother fucking thing. And they probably need some martial arts in their lives, but
I mean, that was a thing in other societies as well. In ancient China, they used to, the reason that they don't give you knives at Chinese restaurants right away, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, is because the emperor didn't want anyone assassinating him. So he's like, no knives, took away everyone's knives. Now it's just a fork and some chopsticks or whatever it is, unless you ask for one. And I mean, in a way, I mean, that makes sense. We don't know. Have you ever thought about moving out of New York?
I have at times, like I've thought like maybe California, but the reality is like I hate this place, but I love it and I'm never going to leave. That's just the way it is. And especially now in my job, like, I'm in a union. I do something that I really care about. I'm proud of it. And, nobody in the country, in the fucking world does it better than us. So I'm like, kind of like, no, this is just where I'm at. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll move to Long Island, but that's it.
When did you move out of Long Island?
I moved to the city, coming up on like 4 years ago. But it fucking... I've had friends who've lived here for forever. My whole family's from here. My parents were just the ones that moved out to Long Island, and everybody else stayed in fucking Corona and Jackson Heights and College Point. And that, so it's just like, it just feels like I belong here. I don't know.
I understand. What's the future plans for King 9? I know it's crazy right now.
Fuck if I know.
Shows,
look, like, at this point, did we ever even announce that? I think like literally right now I should be on a plane going to Japan because we were going to do our first Japanese tour. And at this point I think it's still going to happen, but obviously not currently. Yeah. But I think next year we'll probably end up in Japan. We're going to try to get back to Europe, try to do the West Coast whenever it's possible. I don't even know when the fuck that's going to happen. Other than that, we're like, we're writing music and trying to like get some new songs together to try to put out something. We don't know if it's gonna be an LP or an EP yet, but we're trying to get something together.
In terms of traveling, like what vibes would you say are like different from American shows to like European shows, for example?
Dude, I mean, look, I've only played in Europe and America. Well, in Canada, but from North America to Europe, they appreciate the shit out of you being there. And it's like, and from what I've heard about Japan, like dead silence in between songs because they're respectful and they care about you being there. And it's just like, that appreciation level, I don't think people in the States realize because they are very just like, oh, I'll see that band next time. I'll do that next time. But it's like, you go to Europe and those people are like, thank you for coming. They fucking cook you dinner. They go, this is your place to stay. They care about you being there. And I'm not saying people don't care about it here. Obviously they do. But like, it's just different, man. Like there is an appreciation level they have. Enough so where they'll come up to you and tell you that your first record sucks and they like your last record or whatever. And just like say some dumb shit like that. But
you said in an interview how like, how they would drive like 10 hours to go see a show, and they wouldn't even tell you. They would just do that as a thing. You know?
They're not like, oh, we're driving from so far away. Can you get us into the show? You're just at the show. You play. They're like, hey, we played a show in Austria, and this dude was like, hey, we came from Greece. I was like, dude, what the hell? And he was like, yeah, it took us a day and a half to drive here. I was like, yo, I appreciate the shit out of it. Like me and Gian, those dudes, I fucking hate myself for forgetting their band's name, but those two dudes like asked us to sing on their record, and like me and Gian were like, yeah, fuck yeah, of course, dude. You drove a day and a half to see us play to 25 people, like whatever you want. Like,
I think we should learn that from them. I feel like everyone is just human, and we could all learn from know what I mean?
Everybody else. Yeah,
absolutely.
Dude, it's probably never gonna happen because we're spoiled here.
Yeah,
just with everything, with anything in regards to art, we're spoiled here. You know, we'll never get that. But
well, it's been an hour. Unless you got something else to say, I say thank you for coming, bro.
No, man, I'm glad you guys had me. It was fun talking.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I'm sure we could fucking do this again.
For sure, man.
Very sure. Great talk, man.
Dan from King 9, everyone. Peace.